Hey guys, Kevin Cage back with another cryptocurrency update. Welcome to the channel. Like and subscribe if you're serious about the digital asset space, and let's get right into it today. So to kick things off, we are hovering about 18 cents. Now, many TA people in the community are beginning to become more and more bullish. I know, Mr. Level Up has been calling this for a long time. I know Blockchain Backer says we're coiling up pretty nicely. And then even Kia Crypto, I have been seeing, and he says don't be surprised to even see 23 cents. We're coiling up, so we could see something hopefully early by next week. And again, we will see. I mean, typically I just look at support and resistance. Doesn't take a genius, but again, the timing is what is tricky. And for me, I'm not doing any leverage trading anymore. It's just not worth it. A lot of exchanges such as BitMEX and other groups, they can just simply throw a little flash wick down and wipe out your order entirely. Manipulation is the name of the game, unfortunately. So one of the best strategies, unless you just take little trades here and there, or controlled shorts, is simply to buy and hold. Because obviously we know the upside, we know the utility that is proving on a daily basis, and it's simply a game of patience. All right, so to get into the information today, so shared by this gentleman, Cobus. So he says this, and this is pretty interesting. It kind of goes hand in hand with the whole idea about the, Treasury being involved in working with the company Ripple. Now, this is speculative 100%. And let me know if you guys want to do further research and find anything, but I did want to share it. So I keep talking about this. No one pays attention. Ripple had a position for Bank Secrecy Act. According to LinkedIn, the position is now filled. When BSA, Bank Secrecy Act compliant, the Fed, now under the Treasury, of course, as we know, will supervise Ripple. Does Ripple or XRP need regulation? In my opinion, absolutely not. Regulation has already been around. I think it's kind of just on the down low for now. We know that even groups like EOS, they kind of got, hit on the back lightly, or just kind of a little fine. And at the end of the day, they still made billions. So it's a complete joke. XRP, obviously, third rank crypto, has been around for years. They've been known to work with regulators. They're not coming after them, guys. They're already working with the second largest money service business, MoneyGram. They're launching corridors, solving real problems, meeting with the IMF, BIS. They're at the World Economic Forum. I mean, if you guys really think they're going to get hit hard by regulation, you're silly, because they're just making the wealthy people more money. That's why I'm just confident with them, because they're working within the regulations. So right here, if you guys want to see this, let's just look at these pictures really quick. And I'm just going to kind of this is going to be an informal type of talk video, going through stuff and reading a few articles I found interesting. So now, this job is no longer available, but here are some similar jobs. So again, compliance officer in the United States. And as we can see, let me see here. We saw it earlier. And then right here, Ripple is expanding its compliance team and seeks to hire an experienced BSA compliance officer. This makes you question why. Now, the BSA compliance officer will be responsible for leading Bank Secrecy Act, Anti-Money Laundering, and Office of Foreign Assets Control. All right, so OFAC compliance efforts. And this was on LinkedIn, as we can see here, Ripple listing this, hiring in San Fran. Right here, Office of Foreign Assets Control. It's an agency controlled. It's a financial intelligence agency, an enforcement agency of the U.S. Treasury Department, specifically administers and enforces economic and trade sanctions in support of U.S. national security and foreign policy objectives. All right, founder, the United States Department of the Treasury. It almost seems like all this talk, couldn't be too far-fetched, whether they're directly involved or some version of, consulting, wouldn't surprise me. I'm not going to speculate with price or anything, but I definitely find this to be interesting. All right. Level playing field, give up control. Just thought it was worth the share. I'm curious what, Galgatron thinks. It's good to have, level-headed people and cynics in the space as well, just to keep everybody grounded. But I definitely, think there is more to this than meets the eye, and whether Ripple is, I absolutely think that whether it's the Treasury or Ripple, I think they're consulting to help with the digital dollar. And ideally, after all of these countries go digital with the central bank digital currency, they'll get their domestic rails underway, improve the efficiency. Then after that, we need the international transactions. And the key there is obviously a bridge asset with interoperability. All right. Next up, so we got I Am Legion tagging me in this. This is right here by the CFTC. Has approved final interpretive guidance on retail commodity transactions involving certain digital assets, clarifying the agency's view in respect of the actual delivery for digital assets, and just mentioning the cryptocurrency market as well. So again, just working on this day by day, better regulation. This was on March 24th, 2020. specifically, addressing all of this and the maturity and evolution of digital assets and cryptocurrency markets, talking about, exchange offerings. Notice this, digital asset-based derivative products, of course, numerous lab CFTC and market interactions, as well as market surveillance in furtherance of the CFTC's enforcement responsibilities. So in particular, I know a lot of people are watching, the SEC, but this is another huge group to keep an eye on again, the Commodity Futures Trading Commissions. All right, so we'll see with this, and I'm going to talk about the Volcker Rule in a minute, but I do want to go over some things for any newcomers that will help you guys better understand, all the terms that the XRP community uses, especially with not only addresses, but destination tags and just some simple analogies. So right here, so we know Nick Bougalis, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name, correctly. I just published a proposal again to improve privacy on the XRP ledger. Now, some people would say, oh, XRP is too public. Financial institutions will never use this. Well, they're already using it live. I mean, there's different ways to get around this. You can do batch payments and things of that nature. But now he's working on this, which is pretty cool. So I could definitely see institutions or big banks, using some type of blinded destination tags that allows a little more privacy. So again, it allows for source and destination tags to be cryptographically scrambled so that they are meaningful only to the source and destination of a transaction. If you guys want to read it again, this is on github.com, just talking about the abstract as we can see here, the proposal itself, the protocol changes, things of that nature. At the end of the day, you can just understand that people are working on, improvements all the time. I think that we're kind of coming up to the boiling point now where they're pretty much, set to really go and scale soon. Now, right here, what is a destination tag for, XRP, XLM, and XMR? So Monero and Lumens. So right here, what did I like? So what is a destination tag? So for example, guys, when, traders give you their XRP address to send coins to, you suddenly notice that it might be the same address as yours. How is that possible? Well, it happens since exchanges often use one XRP address for all of their XRP traders. Okay, so imagine it being like a single street, and each house is an address, and that's your house. Your friend that has XRP on that exchange has another house, things of that nature. So the only difference is the destination tag, a short complementary code piece that assigns your transactions to a certain account. The destination tag is mandatory for the overwhelming majority of transactions. Once you set random numbers or inappropriate values instead of the required combination, you'll lose your funds. Those funds will go somewhere else, guys. So it is not worth it. So when you are sending or receiving XRP, you put in the address, and if it has a destination tag, whether it's a 7 or 9-digit number, you put that in perfectly, correctly in the same order. Otherwise, you could potentially not send your XRP or, lose it altogether. So either the funds will be sent to any other user having the combination of the tag or to the exchange storage as an unassigned transaction. So right here, I like this analogy, and we'll move on. It's like the number of rooms. If you live in the same building, you'll need to use exactly your room number to send the XRP to. Otherwise, it could go, upstairs or to your neighbor. So if you live in a private house, you don't need one. So that's why, for example, Ledger Nanos, X's or S's, links in the description, they typically do not have a destination tag. So if you're, you have your XRP on Binance, Uphold, Coinbase, BitTrue, whatever, and you want to send it to cold storage, typically there may not even be a destination tag. It'll just be a single XRP address. So if it doesn't have a tag, you just simply click the check button and say no tag. A lot of people worry about that. All right, but this isn't common for all cryptocurrencies, but just a few. All right, next up, Arturo Portilla. So April 2nd, 2020. We all have this news, but I just want to go through it as well because I haven't covered it on this channel, and this is step-by-step custody occurring on a daily basis. This goes hand in hand with the Volcker Rule that I want to talk about. So Anchorage now supports custody of XRP. Furthermore, the flexibility of the Anchorage platform will allow us to support more advanced XRP functionality like payment channels should the customer demand require it. So as we can see here, Anchorage, we can read a little bit about them. So again, they obviously like supporting the custody of XRP, a digital asset designed to facilitate fast, efficient cross-border transactions at scale. Third largest crypto by market cap, ecosystem of institutions that hold XRP and want a more secure and usable institutional custody solution. Now I want to talk about some problems with institutional custody today. That is kind of a catch-all term, just like I say liquidity is. We'll go through a few bullet points of the problems that they've been trying to fix in recent years at least. All right, and that's why also, as always, PolySign. Keep an eye on PolySign. It is many people's belief, there's NDAs surrounding it, that it will be, a custody solution for trillions of dollars. Okay, so support for XRP relied on a range of resources, including ones contributed to and maintained by the team at Spring, Ripple's developer platform. Talking about the implementation. Let's see here. They look forward to supporting additional services in the future. Flexibility of the Anchorage platform will allow us to support more advanced functionality, as we've said, with the payment channels. And just essentially just talking where they're back, their subsidiaries, etc. So another one down, another one, I almost said another one bites the dust. Another one to check off the list in terms of custody. Now, what I want to cover briefly is this article. So the crypto hedge fund self-custody problem. So short note on why exchange crypto assets are a bit insecure. And this article is by, Nickel Digital Asset Management. I thought it's a good little read, so I just wanted to share this. So cryptocurrency fund custodians. A cryptocurrency custodian is a specialized financial institution responsible for safeguarding a firm's or individual's cryptocurrency assets. If a firm is only going to hold and not trade the crypto assets, then it doesn't need a very sophisticated custody solution. However, hedge funds that plan on trading crypto assets on multiple exchanges require a different and more sophisticated custody solution. Makes perfect sense. So again, the current hedge fund custody situation, guys, we know there's been various regulations allowing banks to custody certain digital assets, or at least hedge funds. But in terms of securing them, we think that, we're just waiting for regulation to hold them. But guys, there's so many types of security. There's, multi-signature. It can go on and on, especially if they're trading not only between assets and, different market makers, but on different exchanges altogether. So the current trend amongst crypto hedge funds is to appoint a custodian and then self-custody the crypto assets that are sent to the exchanges. Self-custody arises because the investment managers of the hedge funds open the exchange accounts on which the fund is going to trade, which means the investment managers have access to the exchange account security credentials. When cryptocurrency is transferred to the exchange for trading or even margin, it goes out of control of the custodian, and the investment manager is effectively self-custodying the funds. The problem with self-custody, there's three main problems with self-custody, as we can see. So first example, it won't pass the operational due diligence of sophisticated capital allocators whom the crypto industry needs to invest, support, and validate the sector. So again, it's just not really the most secure and legitimate, especially when fund managers are managing billions and trillions of dollars, which of course, as we tokenize the space, even commercial real estate and other equities, you can't do this. You have to have these solutions in place now. Secondly, it also puts the investors at risk of having their assets stolen by a dishonest investment manager, of course. Okay, anything with asset under management, you never know. You want blockchain to be the solution to get rid of, having to trust somebody and it just being based off mathematics. Well, this isn't really helping if you have somebody, controlling your asset. Thirdly, it also puts the manager at risk of even, in home invasion, murder, extortion, etc. So again, there's different ways that they can actually mitigate this risk. I really like this article. Essentially it kind of goes over different options as well for custody solutions, some ideas, issues today, receipts. So if you guys want to read this again, the title is The Crypto Hedge Fund Self-Custody Problem by Nickel Digital Asset Management. All right, and keep in mind, I've been saying, and just like everybody has, watch PolySign. Okay, next up, King Solomon here. So we have another group out of Seoul, South Korea. And as we can see here, so basically they are a holding company established in 1991. Looks like third largest conglomerate with over $140 billion in revenue in 2012. So quite large. And as we see here, we're just highlighting in 2018, another mention of utilizing Ripple's blockchain. So IT leader SK Holdings, CNC, signs Memorandum of Understanding with Consensus to further blockchain ecosystem. December 4th, 2018. We can see, Pegasus, another group. I may have seen that name. I'm sure, King Solomon knows a lot more about it. He does a lot of in-depth research such as this. So again, right here recently, a coin as a service, CAAS, platform has been developed that can easily issue various regional currency and gift certificates by utilizing Ripple's blockchain tech. All right, so just a little mention there. Thought that was cool. Next up, King Solomon sharing this as well. So Liechtenstein regulators approve Ethereum-based real estate fund. So this has to do with Ethereum. This has to do with, DApps, decentralized or distributed applications, but just showing the validation of the space where DeFi is going to become more and more prevalent. Okay. I'm going to go through bullet points here. I was reading this earlier. I just want to not waste your time, guys, and kind of just give you the 2 cents, just talking about, KYC AML requirements. Also, there was something about sourcing liquidity. Yep, so right here. So you could actually combine, for instance, lending purposes. So you will get some liquidity out of your tokenized property, right? Personal or permission blockchains may need some benefits within the quick time period. However, folks will understand that they're lacking out on all of the enjoyable and nice purposes which are constructed on public blockchains. So extreme blockchain regulation. So essentially, guys, right there, just utilizing, the ERC20 token on the Ethereum DeFi system. Now, customary means that the corporate can readily combine with the rising DeFi ecosystem. So day by day, we're seeing more developments. I think Ethereum is extremely, extremely undervalued. What was it? Its all-time high, 1,400 or 1,500 last bull run. I still believe that the ROI for XRP will, literally blow past everything. But I think hedging your bet, absolutely. I'm more bullish on Ethereum than I am Bitcoin. Not financial advice, just my opinion. Now, to talk about the Volcker rule, and we'll finish up this video, guys. And keep in mind, let's see where XRP is at currently. So right at 18 cents. I'm really hoping to get back to, 23, 30 cent range again. And I just want to blow past 40, 50 cents. I feel like we've been trapped in the sideways downtrend for so long. All right, SEC news. So we got the FDIC, CFTC, Federal Reserve will consider comments on the Volcker rule modifications following the expiration of the comment period. So day by day, this has to do, with, hedge funds and banks and anything holding an asset that is deemed a bit speculative. Now, keep in mind, there's different types of custody solutions as we've gone over in this video. Some can just custody, set it and forget it, and it's secure. But when you're moving the asset around, letting different, investment managers, manage it, and you're going on different exchanges altogether, there's a lot of risk and a lot of things that could go on. So remember, the whole point of blockchain, of course, besides operational efficiency, is trust and automation, getting rid of these intermediaries. You don't want to make it a clunkier system that it already is. So if we have these funds, why are we using so many intermediaries? They need to find a way to streamline this process altogether. So right here, this is on XRP chat. Now, this is a question to David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple, and I do like this. So again, if you guys want to read this, xrpchat.com, you guys can kind of type in, different topics, read questions, hear the community's, take on everything, and it's just a good brain teaser. Again, none of this should be taken as financial advice, and always, always, always double check the work. So right here, Volcker rule prevents banks from holding positions deemed speculative, prevents banks from prop trading and making bad bets. But what happens when the Volcker rule is tweaked to allow banks to hold, not trade, speculative crypto positions? XRP to help streamline their business and make them more efficient. Speculative traders are held in the trading book. What if XRP was held in the banking books by financial institutions? On-demand liquidity, X-current, all of RippleNet altogether is the plumbing, and XRP is the liquid that flows between the financial institutions to help them settle transactions faster. It helps FIs stay liquid by eliminating the need to, lock cash up, these cash reserves in domestic and foreign financial institutions. If these FIs hold XRP, then what happens to the price of XRP? Is there enough XRP for all the financial institutions to hold as a commodity or some version of another, whether it's commodity or exchange token, in their book? What happens when there just isn't enough XRP for these institutions to hold? What happens to the value of XRP? Well, the demand is increased, so ideally the price should go up with the limited supply. In order for any of this to happen, the Volcker rule does need to be tweaked. This only works if XRP is classified as a commodity and not a security. Now, time and time again, I will say on this video, and you guys can make fun of me if I'm wrong in the future, I don't care. I believe that XRP, even if there's more FUD that calls it a security, it will never be 100% classified as a security. That will take years to do still. I believe the classification, if it ever comes out, will be some version of a commodity or some type of new digital asset framework or exchange or utility token. Like, that is just my belief. That's what a lot of other people believe. It just seems like the right move. All right. Now, by the way, trading books hold all tradable financial assets of a bank, and the banking book refers to assets on a bank's balance sheets that are expected to be held to maturity. Now, remember, people ask David Schwartz, well, the case for XRP to Moon, double, triple, quadruple digits, what needs to happen? And basically, David Schwartz just says, and you ask his take on, slower, steady rise or really fast rise. And he says, basically, corporates and banks need to hold XRP, okay? Need to be able to hold it speculatively, and what happens is, as the volume is increasing, liquidity improves, they're sending more and more money, higher value, it's going to slowly basically rise. And even if it's a slow and steady rise, what's going to happen is FIs, banks, governments, you and me, retail investors, we're going to see that and take note of that. Oh my gosh, it's going up, 1% every 2 days, or, things like that, or 5% a week. People are going to start buying it. That's going to bring demand up, and that's where those little bull runs will come with it too. So that's basically what he said. He says, well, if the slow and steady rise is the case, people aren't stupid. They're going to catch on to it, and that'll also create FOMO, and that's where the market will even boom faster. So could it be a major boom? Could there be a potential price set like there has been for gold? Things of that nature. So it's just something to entertain. I don't want to get you guys too excited. I don't want you taking loans out to buy XRP. Please do your own research, and I only do invest what I'm willing to lose. Nothing's guaranteed, but I've never been more sure of anything personally. Okay. Next up, so again, answering this, yeah, Ripple even has said numerous times they don't believe XRP is a security. I doubt David, CTO, would be able to say anything differently or new about this, but that's not really your question. Keep in mind, not all FIs need to hold XRP, and that's absolutely true. Talking about multi-hop, of course, which is, completely innovative. Right here, so I do like this. So with multi-hopping, I mean that the one financial institution could provide the currency exchange through XRP as a service without the two ends having to touch XRP or RippleNet. So I believe the key is having lots of financial institutions holding XRP. So rather 10,000 FIs having 10,000 XRP each, than having, 10 FIs holding, 10 million XRP each. Okay, so that would drive demand between those FIs. It would have a bigger ecosystem as well, better liquidity, hopefully more traders, and just, tighter spreads between those markets, okay? And that would push price ideally, and this is all just speculation as well. But otherwise, XRP will be concentrated, and liquidity needs will be easily fulfilled through these big holders, although they would also have to buy XRP to keep their stack. There was something else I read that I wanted to share. Yeah, just to reinvent the wheel. So yeah, right here. So FIs will still need to do business and will have a price, be it higher, for which they will happily sell XRP to you. So check this. Not everyone wants to buy XRP at 18 cents and sell at $589 like everyone believes. So there's a continuous buy and sell point for each of the holders. Exactly. Same with market makers. I think people are going to, hopefully really create true liquidity within this market, such as a G10 currency. So that would be nice to see this ecosystem develop. Now, keep in mind, Ripple attacking cross-border, that is, obviously one of the big goals and points, but that is not just what XRP depends on. There's other things going on with streaming of payments. We know that, ILP is working on some dev kits as well for streaming. We know that can go hand in hand with Coil. We know Spring's working. We know that groups like Forte with their initiative, Music. I'm really hoping that we see some true developments. I want to see something get into the commercial real estate game. I know that the dApps on Ethereum are going to be great. I would love to see, Ethereum somehow run on the XRP ledger to scale better. It's exciting. Like, the one thing that bothers me is, price. We've been here for a while. Some people have been here 3 years, 5 years. I get it. But at the same time, I'm not seeing anything that's bad. Right now, with this crash, and, my heart goes out to anyone affected, mentally, health-wise, financially, seriously. But it does validate the use of digital assets, and we can see some version of a new monetary system being rolled out. So this is exactly what we see. And again, they're not going to create their own competition that is a walled garden. They want to create this level playing field. This is the narrative they've been saying. So it will be some version of an open sourced protocol. Just like everybody says, the best place to hide something is right in front of you. XRP, the third in market cap. Everyone calls it a banker's coin. The narrative, develops over the years. It's almost seems like there's too many coincidences. So I'll take off my tinfoil hat. All I'm saying is there are a lot of coincidences. So you guys can draw the conclusion from there. All right. And again, remember the Volcker Rule 2.0. Again, it took effect there. We haven't seen any, I haven't noticed any massive changes yet, but I am watching those banks and the laws of the hedge funds in Germany. The German banks are really taking initiative, even groups like, Austria, Liechtenstein. And I'm sorry if I'm kind of butchering the pronunciation, but I think we're seeing everything we need to see. Like as investors in owning, almost the future type of IP protocol for the Internet of Value. If you guys have any, concerns besides price, like I'm talking fundamentals, please let me know. I'll absolutely look into it. I appreciate all of you guys that send me interesting things on Twitter as well. Be sure to follow me if you do not already. Of course, my internet freezes. So again, it is Kevin_Cage_. So feel free to follow if you haven't already. I appreciate it, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I appreciate all that hit the like button if you like what you saw and stuck around. And I will see you in the next video.